All right, so this is the Amazon Inventory Manager Excel tool. So if you're selling on Amazon, you probably are either paying monthly for some software, or you're doing something on your own to help track your orders, your inventory, profit, things like that. This tool is designed to basically try to replace all that and help streamline your Amazon business without monthly fees. Just a one-time purchase, and you just need Microsoft Excel. This tool comes with a bunch of different features, help track your orders, your inventory, other various things. There's a list on the right, and I'll kind of go through each of these things at a high level. Alright, so the first thing it does, it helps track your orders. So you're probably buying items from different suppliers. You have items coming and going. It can be hard to track sometimes. So you can easily just create orders in this tool. You can give the order a name. You can define how many items are being placed into the order, where it's coming from, and the date. And then you can basically fill in all of the information, which I'll show in a bit. And then you can, of course, delete orders if you want to get rid of it. All right. Here's a test order, just some random items. So what it can do is once you put the information in, you can basically say how many items have you purchased, the quantity, and you can track if those items have been received or not. Green meaning yes, yellow meaning not yet. So it has automatic color coding to help you track if the items have been checked in yet. Maybe some arrived broken or defective. You can put that in a separate column to help track what's broken. And you can also track if those items have been shipped into Amazon FBA as well. So to help keep things organized with all this nice color coding. Something else it does is once you've filled in all of the fee information, all the numbers, it's going to automatically tell you what the profit is per item, as well as what the ROI and profit margin is for all of these items based on all of the fee information. That's very good to know if your items are actually, profitable. And then per order, you can see what the total order profit is for all those items if you sold all of them at that sales price. And you can see what the average ROI is and the average profit margin. Other thing there is the database. There is a database built into this tool to help track what you've already purchased. You don't have to type stuff in each time. So for example, if you're making a new order, you can give it a name, fill in some random stuff. If you've already bought the item, all you have to do is just basically type the ACE in it, and everything's going to automatically populate based on what's been put into the database to make it easier when you buy the same thing again. So the next thing, let's see. If you haven't bought the item before, you have to basically put in all of the fee information, things like prep fees, what you paid for it, Amazon fees, things like that. As far as the Amazon fees go, you can either just fill in the information manually, which is fine. It's not that hard, or there's also a built-in tool to basically look up what that information is on the Amazon website. So here's an example. You can basically just, here's a random Mason I just found. If I copy paste it correctly, fill in some random information, and can basically just press one button. It's going to check the internet to figure out what the fee information is, and it will fill in everything on the order line and also store all the information into the database so that it'll just automatically fill in the next time that you buy that particular item. Something else that it does that I just kind of showed real quick is if you don't like having to think of SKUs to put in your Amazon account per item, there's a button here that randomly generates a SKU for you. So you can just randomly assign SKUs. So when you put it in your database, it's going to use whatever randomized SKU you picked, just to save you some time there. Let's see, something else this tool can do. You can basically define a certain ROI to help you determine what your minimum sales price should be. So for example, if you're using a repricing software and you want to set a minimum so you don't have a sales price go below a certain sales price, you can do that based on ROI targets. So for example, if the lowest profit I want to take is 10% ROI, you can just put that there. So then for each item, it will tell you what the sales price is that corresponds to 10% ROI or 5% or whatever percent you put in there to help determine what some recommended minimum sales prices are if you are using a repricing software. And then what you can do with that information is you can basically, for each item, put in what the repricer minimum and maximum settings should be in your software. You can use these numbers here based on the ROI targets. You fill them in, and you can just update your database with whatever numbers you selected to make it easier. What then can happen is to help you put these numbers into your repricer software. There's a separate tab where you can basically just display all of your items. Here are some random items I put in the database that you can see all the ASINs, all the SKUs you've picked, and what your repricing min and max values are that you can pretty much just copy paste into your repricing software. And it's also another macro that runs each month you can do that will basically fill in some other preset ROI targets. You can see 20%, 10%, 5% ROI, what the sales prices are that correspond to those ROI values. And you can even see what the break-even point is, meaning what sales price would you have to set to have zero profit, and even negative ROI, which these can be helpful if you're trying to get rid of old inventory that's not selling. You just want to kind of get rid of it. You're willing to take a loss or no profit. You can use these numbers as a guide to help you figure out what your new sales price should be. So you can show all your items, or you can just display a few set ASINs by just putting in some ASINs. Click that button instead, and you'll just show whatever ASINs you've updated in there. And then you can also update the database just based on these buttons right here. If you want to change these values, that's fine. Let's see, back to this thing. Something else you can do is you'll probably at this point have to add these items into your Amazon account so you can sell them. You can do it one by one manually, or to help save time, you can use the Amazon inventory loader template. It's an Excel file pretty much. All you have to do is basically just find some ASINs you want to add to Amazon. You just highlight them, you click one button, and it'll automatically generate an Excel file that has the SKUs, the ASINs, and your sales price that you've input, and some of the other baseline information for that template. And then you can pretty much just upload this file to Amazon for those items to be added. Nice and easy, just a few button clicks. And likewise, if you want to ship stuff into FBA, exact same process. You can just highlight the ASINs you want to ship into FBA. You type in how many items, basically right there, and then you just click the different button. You can do standard or case pack depending on which template you want to use. Click the button, and it's going to automatically create that Excel file. You can put your address in, make sure it looks good, and then you can uplink this file to Amazon to create a shipping plan. Next thing that can happen is each month you can run a different macro where what it can do is it will look through that particular month at all the items you purchased, and it'll look at what the purchase price was for each item. It'll figure out what the average purchase price is for each of those items, and it will then store all of that information into a database. So you can see basically for each month what is the average purchase price for all of the ASINs and what's the average throughout the year. That can be helpful to know, what you're paying for your items, so you can use that in your profit calculations or for tax purposes. Let's see, the last major feature is you can calculate your working capital, essentially your total business assets. So each month you can fill in, if you want, all of your assets and debt. So, any cash in your bank account, if you have an Amazon balance, if you have any credit card debt, any other assets, just any assets or debt, you can put them in here. And then there's another macro you can run that's going to import a certain Amazon Excel file that shows your FBA inventory, which will then take that file and figure out what your total inventory assets are and what they're basically worth if you sold everything at the current sales price, factoring in all of the current fee information. It then adds on anything you've just haven't sent in to FBA yet to figure out what your total assets are worth, and then give you a sum there at the end of the month, which can be helpful. And lastly, a lot of plots will automatically populate, just various things if you want to see how things are trending throughout the year. For example, your business assets can be, seen, how things are going throughout the year, how the business is doing, things like that. That's pretty much it. This tool can be pretty helpful. It's helped my business out a lot. Hopefully it could help out yours. And if you have any questions, you can let me know.